Today we speak to the incredibly talented Romy Dankner, the creative force behind Homeroom Studio. Based in Melbourne, Romy is known for her warm contemporary design aesthetic that balances sophistication with a relaxed, lived-in feel. Her work celebrates the beauty of natural materials, thoughtful spatial planning, and the power of design to tell a personal story. After launching Homeroom Studio about 20 years ago, Romy quickly established herself as a go-to designer for clients seeking homes that feel both inspiring and deeply comfortable. Her projects often blend refined textures, curated art, and subtle colour palettes, creating spaces that are as emotionally engaging as they are visually striking. Today we discuss Romy's design philosophy and how she finds inspiration in everyday life and travel. We'll also explore the lessons she's learned while building a design studio that's as authentic and dynamic as the spaces she creates. Romy, welcome to Her Design, Her Story. Thank you so much for having us in your gorgeous home today with your dog as well.
She's very cute. Join us any minute. My pleasure. I'm very excited.
No, it's great to catch up. You've had a wonderful career to date with your business Homeroom Studio.
Yeah.
But before we go into where things are at currently, you've also had a whole other career life before design.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about the start of your journey going back to when you finished school.
Yeah.
Can you describe a little bit about that first career pathway when you started your studies?
Dog, sorry.
So cute.
She really wants to be in this. Oh, hopefully if I ignore her long enough. Sorry, going back to, yes. Yes, so interior design. I did have a big life before interior design.
Yeah.
I didn't know I always wanted to do that. I've sort of got half of the family, sort of dad's side, are kind of in the medical world. And then my mum's side, mum was an art teacher, an artist in her own right. So I was sort of both. So I ended up in a career doing prosthetics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, different.
Very different.
So, and I think what I was drawn to there was, it was sort of the sciencey part, but then also still using my hands and creating something. So prosthetics was where I was at. I worked in the hospital here at the Austin in intensive care.
Oh,
and then I found myself moving overseas for a man, of course.
Yeah.
Worked in hospital over there and in a private practice. But yeah, it was never really... I think I really loved the idea of the collaboration and helping people. But when we moved back to Melbourne, I was like, I want to get out of hospitals.
Yeah.
I want to get out of that sort of white light environment and do something that felt more me.
Yeah. So you've come back to Australia after about 4 years away.
Mm-hmm.
What did you turn your mind to when you came back?
So great question. I really felt I was sort of back, in my youth, like, I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
So a family member actually said to me, look, I've just started a baby brand, like clothing. Why don't you sell? And I looked at her like literally like rocks in her head. I was like, how do I even do that? And she's like, you can sell to Eskimos. And I was like, no, I can't. And I think I sort of learned at that point, I am that personality. I'm like, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Like what's there to lose? So I started selling for her. I was out on the road, no GPS back in the day, my Melways, trying to work it out.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, what I really loved about it was sort of being on the road and connecting with people and learning a lot about sales and business and commissions. And then at that point, I realised, well, if I was doing this already and building this database, why wouldn't I be selling other products as well?
Yeah.
So I really started writing a list of other products that I'd love to represent.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, why I found sales easy was that if I believed in it and it was authentic to me, then it wasn't really salesy. It was an easy pitch. So I started representing other brands from overseas, like Oi Lily and Mistela, and built a beautiful, sort of base of brands and called the business Link. It was called Link Professional. It was that link between supplier and clients.
Yeah.
So I did that for 2 years, learned a lot. Again, you know, learning by doing. Like
yes. Yeah.
It's my thing. I tell my kids the same thing. There's no better education.
Refreshing. Yeah. Yeah.
Than by just doing. So I learned a lot about that. And I saw there was a gap in the market. At the time there was kids furniture, but it wasn't particularly stylish. So it was a lot of like, you know, those fold-out sofas like of Pooh Bear and Thomas the Tank Engine, and they were never coming in my house.
And harder to get, sort of thinking back as well, harder to get the international products perhaps. It was over,
absolutely.
Like internet shopping wasn't really a thing.
It was not a thing. You know, these days, you know, we jump online on Amazon, on anything, and everything's accessible now. It really wasn't back then.
Yeah.
So I started a company called Cushy Couch, which some people still know me for, which was designer kids furniture.
Yeah.
I decided the best place to launch was Sydney at the Life and Style trade show. And with a 1-year-old daughter in tow, because you know, why don't we just do everything?
All at the same time.
I launched Cushy Couch.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So Cushy Couch, basically, it took off.
Yeah.
Again, I just, you know, really went in head first with that. And when I say it took off, it probably surprised me sort of how quickly there was a need for it in the market. So within sort of about 2 years, we had, it was me with a lot of hats. I was the we. National distributors all over the world. We were now manufacturing in China, which was the thing at the time.
Yeah.
A warehouse in Paran, and
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so there was, I've
busy.
had a few, busy.
Yes.
I've only ever known busy.
Yeah, which is good. So you started your current business, Homeroom Studio, almost 20 years ago now, which is incredible.
Yeah.
What was that turning point for you in shifting your focus from what sounds like an incredible furniture business to more that interior focus?
Yeah. So we built our first house.
Yeah.
And it was, again, another challenge, another area that I'd never done before, but I really fell in love.
Yeah.
It was from the build process, the design, what goes on behind the scenes. I think it was about I was creating something out of nothing.
Yes.
Which I guess in all my businesses, if I sort of look back, I think that's what excites me the most.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was very much the start of the journey. And then that's when I was, started to do things for friends and family. And, at the time I could never charge because, how can we charge for something that we just love?
Yeah.
And then it made me realize that I need to actually go and study something to then be able to justify spend.
Yeah.
But that was the turning point. And I think post that we probably built and sold 6 times.
Oh, amazing.
That. Yeah, made it a business.
Yeah.
At the time. Yeah.
No, that's wonderful. So what was that point of evolution going from working from friends and family to taking on larger clients? Did you get approached by people, or was that quite a conscious decision of, I'm going to go and proactively look for work?
Good question. I feel
like it can be a tricky one, but often there's that kind of point of, and it is hard because I often think with friends that are doctors or lawyers, you would never expect free advice. So I always think it is funny in design how we sometimes feel that need to put validity to what we're doing. Definitely. But it's actually a real talent in itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think also particularly women in business.
Yeah.
From a lot of people that I speak with and connect with, it's like it's a passion space, but then how do we make a business and unashamedly, want it to be a successful one?
Yeah.
So I'm obviously thinking back quite a while now, and I was juggling kids. I've got 3 kids, so I was juggling a lot of that at the time. I would say that my husband probably had quite a large part in that he'd always supported me with my many sort of business ventures. I want to do this, I want to try this agency, so he was always very supportive, and I think it got to a point where he was like, okay, babe, like we've got a family now, we have 3 kids, like if this is where you want to be, you really need to start charging and just be proud of what you do. And so I think he was probably pivotal in that.
No, I think that's wonderful. I think one of the really interesting things with your business as well is that you've really followed your intuition and your gut in some aspects. And I think you've had these incredible experiences across other fields, but not necessarily in design.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this has helped you sort of develop and evolve in your own way without necessarily following what you've seen in other design offices? It's probably a little bit freeing in some respects.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, because I never worked for anybody else.
Yeah.
So, in that regard, I never had a mentor per se. I didn't know how things worked, and maybe that's, the deep dive sort of mentality that I've always had. But I used to see it as a negative. I used to think that it was perhaps I wasn't as good as other people because I didn't have that exposure, and I never had, I suppose, that reinforcement when you work for somebody and you're doing a good job. You're like, oh, I'm really good at this, but I didn't have that. So I guess I was very intuition led. Yeah. And it's been a long time, obviously, that I've been doing this business, and I'm always learning and I'm always growing. But I guess, I suppose I do go in intuitively, and I lead by what feels right for me, what works for clients. And when something doesn't work, which often it doesn't, it's a matter of saying, okay, well, that didn't work. Yeah. What process do we need to develop that works for us? And I think now, the studio size is about 5 or 6 of us, and getting that feedback from them in that, we work between school hours. I'm a big believer in work-life balance, and all those things are things that I did it because it felt right, but I didn't realise how much the industry was needing it, where there's such incredible talent out there. But as they've gone on to have families, they haven't been, they feel like suddenly shut out of the industry. So
it's interesting. And I think having worked across a number of scales of businesses as well, and just reflecting lately through that sort of process of study as well, it's interesting that business side of things and how to run a successful business and marketing and all those things, which you no doubt would have probably at the time really be learning so much through running your own business, becomes really imperative to any business structure. And even if you'd studied or worked for someone, it's often that side of things that you don't get to experience or get all the learning in as well. Yeah. Absolutely. So I've it's been interesting speaking to people who have worked for numerous design offices or had amazing mentors, but there's that kind of business acumen side, which is just really, it's a big part of running a practice. Absolutely. And it's often the thing that we're least practiced in.
Yes, no, 100%. I definitely feel that the studio or my ethos is that it's collaborative.
Yeah.
It's not me, and I definitely don't take the kudos for it. Whilst I still try to be a face of the brand, that's just to keep it personal and to put a face to the brand. But really, the success of the business and our projects it's very much collaborative.
Yeah. No, I was going to touch on actually the name of your studio as well, which I love that collaborative ethos. Can you talk a little bit about how you landed on Homeroom Studio? Because I'm looking at the name of my brand, I'm like, I've got my name all over.
Oh, no. But I really like that.
I like that idea of having a little bit more of a sort of a team collaborative approach. That's obviously quite a strong, did that feed into that sort of naming aspect?
Not consciously initially. Yeah. When I was coming up with names, every time I'd written a whole lot down and obviously my name had come up on the page, it just didn't feel right. I don't think it was a conscious decision. Homeroom was just playing with words, and I saw home and I saw room, and I thought a homeroom is a hub of a school space. So I kind of went homeroom. I really quite like that.
Yeah.
And then years later, I would say maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, I decided to actually take on a mentor. She's a psychologist, but in the business sense. And it was interesting. We were going through a rebrand at the time, and I said to her, well, now's my opportunity to change the name. And she said, why do you feel like you need to change your name? And I said, well, a lot of other design studios, that is commonly what they do. And she said, anyway, so we unpacked it, and I realised actually,
nailed it.
I'm happy that it's Homeroom Studio, that it is collaborative. So
Yeah. No, I think that's really interesting. And obviously, as I touched on before, you have had incredible longevity with your business. Can you describe a little bit more around the structure of what it looks like at the moment? Like how many staff you have working with you?
So there's 5 or 6 of us.
Oh, amazing.
We've got like our interior design side of the business, and now we have our furniture curation.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, it was always interior design. Furniture has always been a passion space.
Yeah.
Always loved furniture. But interestingly, I never really saw how I sort of would do it when I was doing interior design clients. I said, yeah, of course I can do furniture. But it was probably 3 or 4 years ago that I realized actually, it's not that I could just do it. I love it.
Yeah.
I try to go to Milan every year for the furniture fair.
Yeah.
I travel a lot. I love fabric and texture, so why aren't I actually offering it as a standalone offering? And that's what we do now. So we have the furniture side, so we have staff that are purely on furniture and staff that are purely on interior design.
It's quite a specialized also with it there's the the invoicing and the logistics and it is quite a sort of a standalone component of a project.
Very much so. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Coming back to that longevity of your business, which is amazing, adaptability and evolution of, being able to evolve with changing market and life stages and, we'll touch on family in a moment, but are there any key things for you that you feel you've been able to navigate well to be able to see out that time period? Is it sort of an intuitive approach, or are you a bit more strategic?
I think it's an intuitive approach.
Yeah.
We always make mistakes. There are clients that you take on and you think, my gut told me not to do that. Like I knew it. We want to be profitable, but we, at the same token, I think that's, I lost my train of thought, sorry, but there was a lot in that. I was like, where am I going with this?
I think there is that sense of intuition, which I think is obviously one of the wonderful drivers of your business as well. Yeah. And I think often as things change, like the marketing strategies now are quite different, or I've noticed a lot of people are engaging PR marketing specialists with their business and social media. And
correct. I mean, that's a beast unto its own.
Yes, and really changed the way that I think people find clients.
Absolutely.
In some ways as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Instagram for us is it's a very important platform. We get clients through Instagram. Yeah. So I try not to be a slave to it. We have somebody fabulous that sort of supports in the background. I keep our Instagram profile. Everything there is just our work.
Yeah,
I never showcase anybody else's work. It's basically a portfolio for us.
Yeah,
and I think coming back to that level of authenticity, it is very much that this is our work, and then the stories is something that that I do, and it's a bit more of a day in a life or a snapshot. I'm not very good at being in front of the camera in terms of follow me, or this is how I do things. I'm not great at that. I just feel like it should just be organic and just being true to myself.
Yeah, exactly. We've touched on that attribute of intuition, which I think is really strong. Yeah. What do you think are other key attributes that would have been beneficial to you in taking the leap and starting your own business and evolving as you have?
I think it's backing yourself.
Yep.
Believing in yourself, and being, as cliched as this sounds, it's okay to fail.
Yes.
And I think, when one of my businesses wasn't working for me and then I came away from it, I remember, I think it was my brother, he's a psychiatrist, always good to have one in the family, very handy. He said to me, there's a lot of power in walking away from something. It's actually a strength. And then when I realized at that point, wow, you're right, I'm actually making a really strong decision here. Yeah. It's not a failure. It's just part of my journey. I think that was huge. So I would say my brain ticks like that. I'm always, if I see a gap or an opportunity, or I meet someone that inspires me, I'm like, I want to work with you. Well, I could do that. I'm going to start that business. Like my brain doesn't stop.
Yeah, I think that's really important advice, actually. And I think also with that sense of not feeling like a failure, it's never too late to make a change.
Never.
Because it can be really exhausting when things are weighing you down.
Absolutely.
And to sort of have to regroup and start again is quite a big mental.
And the other thing I would say, because often a lot of people think about, starting their own businesses, or am I too late in my career? I just think it's never too late. Like, it's just too late for what?
Yeah.
It's a journey. And if something excites you and you sort of think, it's just best not to compare yourself to what else is out there. I just think there's space for everybody.
I think, and that's the thing as well, you never really know what's going on behind the scenes with people as well.
You don't. Smoke and mirrors.
Exactly. Looking ahead to how your business is evolving now, we touched on the furniture curation, which is beautiful. Yeah. Is residential your main sort of passion of projects that you take on?
Yeah. I mean, I would say, is it my only passion? No. Would I love to do, a beautiful day spa or or a retail store? Absolutely. Hit me up. Yeah. Yes. So not only my passion space, but I think just the natural evolution. Yes. And as you put that out to the world, that's sort of what comes back.
Yes.
So at the moment we are very heavy resi.
Yeah. And obviously the furniture offering
absolutely
as well.
Absolutely.
Which is wonderful. Mm-hmm. Moving ahead, I'm sure you've got some wonderful projects on the go. Have you got any exciting things sort of on the drawing board in the studio at the moment?
Yes, we do. It's quite eclectic.
Oh, that's good.
Which is really nice.
Yeah.
I think I often sort of reflect on that in terms of, often people think homeroom and it's not a specific style that jumps out. I think there are certain people in the industry where you say their name and you know what.
Yes, sort of a certain aesthetic. Yes.
Correct. And again, going back to that mentor that I had, I would often say, is that a negative that I don't have a set style? But again, through time and just, time in the industry and age, I've realised actually my design principles are the same, that my style is the same, but I like to adapt to each client. Yeah. So going back to your question, we're doing a home in Northern Territory.
Amazing.
Which is really fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's one sort of look. And then we're doing like a beautiful Tuscan sort of mansion on the cliff in Mornington.
Amazing.
So very sort of leaning into sort of Tuscan vibes and that look. We're doing a beautiful sort of circa 1860s Victorian home in Hawthorne, sort of very like bistro gimlet vibes and sort of a lot more sort of layered. And what else are we doing?
Some good variation there.
Yeah. It's varied and they're all really different. I think that's what.
Oh, that's amazing.
We're doing one overseas at the moment as well.
Oh, that's exciting.
So it's different.
It's busy.
It's busy.
Yeah. And I think also that like you say, coming back to design principles, I can sort of see with your work there's a certain appreciation of scale and texture, and it's those underlying things that I think can inform the designs without the visual being the same, and obviously covering Northern Territory versus Hawthorne, the aesthetic's going to be different.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I think
keeps it interesting.
Yeah, and talking about it with the team when they've come in from other studios, and those studios are a specific look. It's a retraining.
Yes, of being able to adapt a bit more and
adapt a bit more, and that each one is just blank canvas, fresh eyes, new approach.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
You've also been recently shortlisted for your Montana Jewel project, which is wonderful. Have you found this has changed anything sort of in your office? Have more people approached you seeing the project
It's definitely had a lot of attention.
Yeah.
I think it was a real labour of love project.
Yeah, it's a beautiful project.
And thank you. I think it's very soulful. It's very warm, very textural, and I think people have really resonated. I hope that people would like it, but I didn't expect it to sort of get that sort of level of attention. So when we were shortlisted, obviously, it was something that we were very proud of. And I think it's attracted a lot of attention, obviously through Instagram, but also the overseas market. It seems to resonate. Yeah, it seems to resonate a lot with the LA market.
That could be good.
Could be good. Yes. So there might be some things in the pipeline there.
That's exciting.
So early days, but yeah, it's good. We're very proud.
Yeah. Oh no, that's wonderful. Continuing back to this idea of sort of development and adaptability, obviously finding inspiration for different projects and just keeping ourselves motivated is a really big part of design.
Yes.
Are there any particular designers locally or internationally that you often look to when you're sort of starting a new project or looking for inspiration?
Good question. I wouldn't necessarily say that when I'm starting a project, I look to other people to get inspired by them. I feel like I don't know where my inspiration comes from. I think it's probably travel is a huge one for me, whether I'm, in Morocco or Italy or India. It comes from everywhere. But if I was to pick somebody, I'd probably say Kelly Wersler.
Oh, amazing.
She's pretty iconic.
She is.
She's just bold. She's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like she just consistently pushes the boundaries. And I don't think my design aesthetic is actually hers at all, but maybe that's what I admire about her.
Yeah, yeah.
I see something in her that I don't necessarily have. So I think she's incredible.
Yeah, and sometimes it's that combination as well of seeing other designers' work that you love versus, little details you might pick up traveling.
Absolutely.
Or which come back to you, when projects start.
Very much so.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
We touched on it briefly before, but in line with your design business, you have three children, which is busy.
Yes.
And we also, when we're talking about your office, obviously that idea of work-life balance, are there any sort of key things that you do to structure your life to try and find that? It can be a tricky juggle sometimes.
Very much so.
But any sort of key, I guess, intentional decisions you make around like office hours you're touching on, or things that help you structure that balance?
Yeah. So exactly like you said. So office hours, we try to sort of stick between the school hours.
Yeah.
And the studio is home. So I think that definitely helps as well.
Yeah.
I'm sort of, more present if need be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always been a worker.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine not working. One of my girlfriends is like, you work too much. You need more time for yourself, which is probably true. But I feel like my kids have always known me to be that person. And I hope that that's sort of been a good influence on them.
I think so. And in speaking to a few people through this process, it's, I think, that sense, particularly with design, of that really tangible outcome, like, they can see the fruits of your creativity in your home or projects that you create. And, I think there's a wonderful tangibility with design as well.
Yeah.
They can see that.
Absolutely.
That success.
And
also if you're passionate about it.
Not so young anymore. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
My daughter will be 20 next week.
Amazing.
So, I feel like, I consult them. We talk about projects, staff, when things are working, when they're not. We try to, we're really good at sort of encouraging our kids to give things a go and not being afraid to fail. And so again, through them seeing me do things and trying new things like this podcast, or I did a stint on Channel 9, Australia by Design. I was a host for them.
Yeah.
I don't know, try new things. I think lead by example.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Yes.
Not easy. Not always easy.
No, but I think if you find something that you're really passionate about as well, that kind of work-life situation's not a bad blurred boundary.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think anyone ever has it right.
No, there's no easy.
I don't think, I remember reading something about it once. There's no one that's really ever nailed it.
No.
We're never going to find that perfect. But I think it's a balance. It's like sometimes life creeps up and you realise you've got to pull back, and then something else creeps up, and it's just this like pendulum that just kind of needs to flow.
Exactly.
But it's never, ever perfect.
Yeah, sadly, but that's okay.
But that's okay.
Before we wrap, I wanted to ask you some quick questions in her edit. So the first one I wanted to touch on was your first design-related purchase you ever made, if you can remember.
Well, I always never really had a lot of money to buy something expensive. So it was never the big brands, but I was really good at like a good market or a good, identifying something. So my first piece was actually, she's a famous artist now, but she was, it was when I was living overseas and she was selling her pieces in a market, and I was just straight away like, this is amazing. And my husband and I were, well, my boyfriend at the time, but husband now, we were moving out together, and we needed like literally pots and pans, but I needed artwork.
Yeah.
It was like priority
purchase. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so that was probably one of my first.
Oh, that's pieces. A good first purchase.
Oh, yeah, I've still got it.
And comes back to that idea of intuition as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the latest design purchase you've made?
Ooh.
Or furniture? It can be tricky when you're looking at things all the time.
All the time.
But yeah.
I mean, I live vicariously half the time. I'm like, oh, I want that too.
I know.
But no, I just bought a Cohen Young beautiful art piece I had
gorgeous.
my eyes on.
Yeah.
I do like to go up to the art fairs a lot. I was in Singapore, was it last year or the year before? I can't remember, for the Singapore Art Fair. So art is a passion space. I always have my eye on art. Particularly designing this house, it was set up that eventually I could just collect art in time and that it would have the opportunity to feel like a gallery. So yeah, anyway, art is out there.
That's a good coveting list. We touched on travel. Mm-hmm. Any next travel destinations, actual or inspirational?
I'm kind of one of those people that I'm always like planning the next. I get home, I'm like, okay, where to next? I think Sicily is up there.
Oh, gorgeous. Yeah.
I feel like that's my next calling.
Yeah, and you touched on Milan as well. Is that something regularly you try and get to
Milan? As indulgent as it sounds, it's something that I've been doing the last 3 or 4 years. It fills my bucket. There's something about it. So yes, definitely I'd love to sort of go to the New York one or to others around the world. I think I'd like to start sort of planning those a little bit more, Copenhagen as well. I'd say yes, Sicily.
Yeah, gorgeous. Yeah. It's funny with the design fairs. I saw something the other day and I thought you could actually just keep the whole year.
Yeah.
Traveling
There's a business. Let's do that.
Travel to design fairs. I thought, that's quite convenient.
Yeah. My husband would say that too.
I know.
It's work, babe.
I know. I'm not. My kids are still probably a tiny bit too young, but one day. Absolutely. Design faux pas you secretly love or love to hate?
This is a good one.
Tricky one.
I would say for me, curtains. If they're just sitting short off the floor, that, or if they're too long. How can you get it wrong?
It's actually funny. I was speaking to someone in that space the other day. We were measuring for a project and the client was laughing because we were, he was being really particular about what drop we wanted. And the client's sort of looking at me like, is this such a big deal? And I said, it will be if you walk in and it's not right.
100%. That would be mine.
You will notice.
You will notice.
Favourite creative icon, living or legend?
Creative icon, living or legend. We're talking about
design. Any designers?
Designers. Well, I sort of brought up Kelly West.
Yeah, she's a good one.
She's a good one.
Yeah.
I just think a bit of everyone, really.
I know. It's a hard question.
It's a hard question. Put them all in a mix and take a little bit from everybody. Yeah.
Mine also changes quite frequently.
Yeah.
Depending where I'm at.
And also because our projects are so varied.
Yeah.
If I start sort of looking in a particular design aesthetic in one way, then you start to sort of the other designers feed into that because that's their design style. So it's like you said, it can kind of morph.
Yeah. There are lots of fabulous ones.
Absolutely.
Can you describe your aesthetic in 3 words?
I would say authentic.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say authentic. What else? Elevated.
Yep.
And curated.
Yeah, beautiful. And that kind of touches, I think, on all those aspects of the sort of projects we're talking about and curation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Last question. Yeah. If your style was a celebrity, who would it be?
This is a really good question.
Another hard one.
Well, I like a lot of celebrities, but if it was designing my style, which I've just sort of said, I think who comes to mind would be like Kate Blanchett.
Oh, gorgeous. Yes.
Gal Gadot. Love her.
Sophisticated.
Oh, she's cool.
Yeah.
Julia Roberts as well.
Yep.
I'm big on women, strong women. They're all cool. They're timeless. They're effortless. Very authentic off camera.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're really cool.
No, excellent choices. Yeah. And thank you so much for your time today, Romy. It's been such a delight being in your beautiful home and great to have a chat. Thank you.
So nice. Thank you.